The flat, almost featureless, cracking clay soils of central Queensland are home to the pygmy or black soil dragon, the smallest of the 3 species we'll be covering this week. These dragons have evolved on a landscape where opportunities for perching are few and may be restricted to a mound of earth or a small rock. Pygmy dragons adapt well to captivity and, like the central bearded dragon, can be conditioned to take frozen crickets, although these will never be eaten with the same gusto as live ones. As with the other 2 species, female pygmies will be gravid in October and can be given a tub filled with damp sand in which to lay. About 15 to 20 eggs is average, and as you would expect, these are considerably smaller than central and eastern bearded dragon eggs. And now it's time to set up the eggs for incubation. The recommended incubation medium is vermiculite, which is available from most hardware or gardening stores. It's a fairly simple process, and now I'm going to take you through it step by step. The things we'll need to set it up are some vermiculite, Chinese takeaway container, the 1 litre size, and a lid, a Ziploc bag, some cling wrap, a glass of water, a wooden kebab skewer, and lastly, a good set of digital scales. So the first thing we do is we weigh the Chinese takeaway container, and this one weighs 20 grams. Then we add the vermiculite until it fills the container to about 2/3, which is probably about that much. Give it a bit of a shake, settle it down, and we weigh that. Now that's 100 grams, which means that we have 80 grams of vermiculite if you subtract the 20 grams that is the container. So now we need 80 grams of water, and this is where the Ziploc bag becomes useful. We add some water to the Ziploc bag, trying not to spill it anywhere. This is just a very convenient way of containing the water while you're weighing it. So then we pop that on the scales, and it's exactly 80 grams, which was a very good guess. Now what we do is we just make a small hole in the side of the Ziploc bag, which you just do by pulling the corner off with your fingernail, like I've just done. Then evenly spread the water over the vermiculite, like that. Now we're ready to put the eggs in the container. So now we've transferred the eggs to the Chinese takeaway container. We're ready to finalize the process, and I've found a pair of scissors which I'll use shortly. What we do is we spread the cling wrap over the top of the container, then we use the Chinese takeaway container lid to hold it in place. Then we take the scissors and make sure you get a sharp pair of scissors. Trim the Glad wrap around the edge of the container just to neaten it up a little bit so it doesn't get caught on things in the incubator. And now the last thing we do is we just make a couple of tiny little air holes using the wooden kebab skewer. Just 3 is enough. And now it's time for the final step. Place them in the incubator and then practice your patience. During this time the eggs will swell considerably as they absorb water from the vermiculite. All going well, in 2 months they should hatch. You will know when they are about to hatch as they will begin to lose moisture, seen as water droplets gathering on the surface of the egg. After slitting the egg with their egg tooth, the baby dragons will remain in the egg for up to a day. During this time they should not be disturbed as they are absorbing the last of their yolk. As with all hatchling dragons, baby pygmies have an attitude and may open their mouths and gape or even bite if picked up. This is normal behaviour, and quite justified, since they are expecting to be eaten by anything bigger than themselves. Waiting for eggs to hatch can be frustrating and requires patience. But it all seems worth it when those little heads begin to pop out and reveal tiny replicas of the parents. Occasionally, something entirely unexpected pops out of an egg, and that can be like winning the reptile lottery. This is one such example. It was produced by normal-looking parents and came from a clutch of normal-looking siblings. But its difference lies in a random mutation which has reduced the amount of melanin or dark pigment in its skin. This is called hypomelanism and is obvious when compared to a normal-looking pygmy dragon. Not only is a specimen like this potentially worth a lot of money, but it also opens up the possibility of exciting new designer morphs. This is essentially the process that has driven the reptile keeping hobby forward over the last 20 years. Like any reptile, bearded dragons will shed their skin every few months. The skin comes off in pieces and is generally no cause for concern. However, sometimes shedding skin can become too dry, and then a little help from the owner may be needed. This is a delicate process and should only be done by an experienced keeper. This is the hypomelanistic dragon we saw earlier, and its new skin is a dazzling white. It is important to make sure you get all the skin off the toes, or the old skin may harden, restrict blood flow to the toes, and eventually they will drop off. Under natural conditions, this probably never happens.